Paul Albert was born on April 18, 1923, in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. He is currently happily married to Betty Albert, and as of the 18th of April, 2012, he is going to be 89 years old. Mr. Paul Albert moved to Lebanon when he was in high school and ended up staying there, where he currently resides today.
Mr. Albert played basketball every season of the year in high school. He spent too much time playing ball and not enough time reading chemistry books and math books. He always had a feeling the war would be coming, as his dad used to let him listen to the radio, and he soon learned of Hitler and Nazi Germany's invasion of Poland. And then on December 7th, 1941, his fears came true as the United States naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was bombed by the Japanese. Paul Albert finished high school in 1941 and had to immediately sign up for the war draft. He worked in a silk mill, macaroni factory, and helped his father mine coal. He also worked at the Gap and worked in a brewery.
When World War II officially started on December 7th, 1941, Mr. Paul Albert was 18 years old. He enlisted in 1942 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He joined the Army Air Force because he saw a sign up that said, "Be a sergeant in 6 weeks," and that sounded pretty good to him.
Mr. Albert had a couple of friends who joined up with him and stayed with him through basic training and all the way up until they shipped out for England. Mr. Albert said his basic training was fun because he got to go to many places such as Miami Beach, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, Amarillo, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Sioux City, Iowa.
Mr. Paul Albert was a smart man. He enlisted and picked the service he wanted, which was the Army Air Force, before he was drafted and put somewhere he did not want to go. Mr. Albert got to attend basic training at a beautiful Miami Beach, Florida, where he and other enlisted men stayed in a lovely 8-story hotel. He did most of the training in a park at Miami Beach, and he describes it as not being that bad at all, but very exciting.
Mr. Albert didn't mind basic training at all. In fact, he liked it. He was picked as the outstanding airman in his group of trainees and got a letter of commendation. Mr. Albert was well liked, as he says he made a lot of friends.
Mr. Albert was being trained for the job of being a B-17 waist gunner. He went to Las Vegas, Nevada, where he attended Las Vegas Flexible Gunnery School. That is where he flew for the first time and where he learned about gunnery. Mr. Albert learned to be stationed in the ball turret of the B-17 bomber, but he was too tall to fit in the ball. So a fellow friend on the same plane as him offered to man the ball turret in place of him, so he would be taught to fly in the waist position and to fire a 50 caliber machine gun at moving targets such as planes.
Mr. Albert had a few crash landings and had some of his buddies die while serving in Europe. But most of his missions, as he would later say, were milk runs, which meant they were easy. Some of his missions, though, were deep penetration missions into dangerous places like Berlin, Germany, and Munich, Germany. He said that Munich was one of his worst missions in terms of flak and other dangers.
He later said he liked military life and would often consider the option given to him of staying in the military and pursuing a career in it, but he wanted to return home so he could start a family and get back into a civilized life.
At the end of the war, Mr. Albert would stay and become an instructor in the Air Force for a while before going back home. Once he returned home, he would become a teacher. He ran an organization for the state of New York located on Long Island called Urban Recreation, and was also a scout for the football team, the Buffalo Bills. Mr. Paul Albert should be regarded, as many other World War II veterans should, as a hero. He received many medals for his courage and sacrifice, and he did more than enough for his country and deserves our respect. Some of his medals were the European Campaign Medal, the African Campaign Medal, and the Distinguished Flying Cross, issued for bravery on the war front. Once asked if he would have to redo his life, would he join the war effort again, and he bravely responded,
I would not take $1 million for my experience, and I don't want to do it over again. But if we were ever in the same situation, and I was young, I would have absolutely no reluctance to go into the service.